I'm a designer, and I do a lot of traveling and visiting conferences. And last few years were probably one of the most fulfilling years of my life and a career. Uh, I'm quite active in the community, in the WordPress community specifically. I help organize meetups, help organize WordCamp Zagreb, which was our biggest WordCamp in Croatia so far. So that was really great experience. 400 people throughout the 3 days. So I have a question for you. How many of you have you ever attended at least a single meetup? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you have actually spoke at a meetup? Okay. And how many of you have actually organized a meetup? Perfect. So I'm a designer, and I love to help out in the community to organize conferences, but I'm a designer at heart. And while helping out in the community, I love to improve things through design. And that's why conferences for me are a great way to expand my horizons as a designer and as a speaker. And over the years, I have traveled to a bunch of different conferences. I'm guessing that most of you have a picture like this or like a collection on the coat hanger of all the things that you've been to. And I've also got a chance to speak at some of them. So over the like 5 or 6 years, I visited the Smashing Conf in Germany, Frontiers in the Netherlands, several webcams, whole bunch of WordCamps, and that's something that I really love and enjoy doing. And one thing that really resonated with me while I was visiting these conferences or speaking at them was always the experience, like ranging from the talks, were they good, from the design of how everything was done, if the lunch was okay perhaps, or the after party, and in a sense of expanding my connections, meeting new people, and doing the networking. Wrong button, but we'll fix it. So some of these conferences that I've been to are commercial ones, and they can cost up to 400 or 500 euros. But there's a lot of them, like webcam, which are community ones, where the ticket costs around 40 or 50 euros. And in a sense, the biggest difference between the community ones and the commercial ones are that the commercial ones try to maybe earn some money. They try to compensate the speakers, pay for everything, while the community ones are counting on people like you and me from the community to help out, to step out and apply to speak, help out with the website or volunteering on the day of the event, and make sure that everything goes smoothly. And the thing that I, as a designer, like is that all these conferences, community-driven, try really hard to make everyone feel welcome, to make everything as good as possible, from the lanyards to the design to making the sponsors feel happy and, you know, rolling all that. And the thing that I always wondered, why are people doing this for free? Why are designers doing that for free? And this is my story in a nutshell. In 2016, I was speaking at WordCamp Europe, which is a yearly regional conference dedicated to the WordPress ecosystem. And it was the biggest conference I've spoken to so far. And I was nervous, of course, like I am today, probably. And this was really exciting, speaking in front of hundreds of people about my processes, about how I work, about style guides, modular approach, and things like that. And everyone made me feel welcome. And I was really happy, especially after my talk was over, that I got some time to enjoy the conference as well. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm talking about all this stuff I'm doing. Why not offer my help to the organizers and maybe try to improve the next year, even make it even more, make it even better. And that's what I did. I talked to one of the organizers who was in the design team, and I asked him to learn about how the conference is organized and how I can offer my help. And I took the challenge. As soon as the call for organizers was opened, I applied. And several weeks after that, I was informed that I became a part of the organizing team for WordCamp Europe 2017, which is quite a big conference. Over 2,000 people attended. And there I was among 44 different organizers working on the conference that's going to be held in 9 months. And the design team, which counted 6 of us, was responsible for everything the design related, from the stage setup to the lanyard, to the website, badges, like every little bit of detail on the conference. And I was fortunate enough to offer my help on these tasks, and I learned a lot from it. And having a team of 44 people, but 6 people in design, working remotely across different time zones, in their spare time, for free, basically they're volunteering their time several hours a week, to organize something that's going to happen 9 months ahead sounds crazy. And it is. So every year, WordCamp Europe tries to take on a different approach. Maybe do the branding a little bit differently, improve on the color scheme, improve on the overall experience. And for 2017, the team decided to pursue a Art Deco style, like a homage to Paris in 1930s, because it was going to be held in Paris. And that's what our team did for the remainder of the year. And this was no easy task, considering that the conference is changing location each year, and you want to make sure that each location has a unique sense to it. So, how do you do that? But we were not only working on the branding, we were also working on the whole bunch of things, like the website. How can we improve the website? And to many of you, building a website, it's not that hard. You just fire up your favorite text editor, code editor, whatever, find your favorite framework, Bootstrap, just kidding, and you make it work, right? You do how you know you do the things. But WordPress is a big open source project, and WordCamps, our community conferences, they are organized by the WordPress Foundation and the volunteers behind it. So there are certain rules and limitations that you have to be aware of when you apply for hosting a WordCamp in your city. So for example, you can't change the theme of the website because you're given a vanilla WordPress installation that has the default themes up there. You can only change the CSS. And that also works. You can change the CSS to your liking, update the theme, but you have to rely on the theme that hundreds of other conferences might use as well. So that's the first thing that I learned. It's up to you to make your process work with what you have available and not the other way around. That's how you adapt your process. That's how you learn. And in the next few months, we worked on the website, and I managed to put into practice the very thing that I spoke at a year before. And I was quite proud of myself because I managed to help out the whole team be even more effective in publishing the website, making sure that it's updated, that it's visually attractive, and it actually serves its purpose. But meanwhile, there was still the branding thing at hand. So WordCamp Europe was first organizing in 2013 in Netherlands, in Leiden, and Tammy Lister did the logo for that. And the logo was great. I mean, it worked. It had that sense of that this is a European event, it's a WordPress community event, but the logo had to be updated over time since each year the location changed for WordCamp. So the logo that might work for one location might not work for the other. And in 2015, the logo was updated. So the red dot indicated that the current location of the WordCamp in 2015 was Seville. And 2016 was Austria, Vienna. So obviously this logo could work to some extent, but not always. So the 2016 design team, so the team before me, actually tried to work around that, tried to work on a different approach to the branding of the whole conference. and maybe try something different. Maybe try to make the logo unique in a different way for each year. And my design approach was to identify all the issues that the current logo has and try to improve on that. So I want to make sure that it's unique for each WordCamp, of course, that it works in black and white. It gives you a sense that this is a European event and is built by using open source technologies. And of course, it tells you that this is a community event. So everyone from the team started to work on that. Everyone started to draw some concepts, share some ideas, and in the next week or so, Sonia, our team lead, actually combined all the concepts and showed them to all the organizers anonymously so that we can have a vote and see what idea could work best. And one of the ideas that I had actually was the most popular of those. And the organizers gave their ideas from their non-design perspective that actually helped us into improving the logo. It was still a rough concept, but it communicated my idea. Presenting your design is probably the most important skill that you can master as a designer. It's hard to communicate something. And good designers don't run away from the challenge of the communication. And while we could argue that good design needs no explanation, and I agree with that, the designer's process often starts in different ways, perhaps from a rough sketch or like a HTML prototype or something like that. So it's important the designer utilizes the right tool that will enable him to express himself the best. And people are passionate. Designers with ego are also passionate, of course. And when they see something they like or dislike, they say it. And what I learned, being a part of the design team for this community conference, is that the way you say things is as important as what you say. So it's not only of not hurting anyone's feelings, but it's also taking into account a whole bunch of things, like remote teams. So most of us are chatting. Sometimes we communicate with cat GIFs or emoticons or something like that, but not everyone is a native English speaker. Not everyone can express themselves with words or can summarize their thoughts in a few sentences. Sometimes a call or a video chat might work better. And that's important to keep in mind when you're working in a remote team on an open source project. Be prepared to spend as much time designing as you spend communicating, because you are not working alone. You can't expect everyone to understand your idea if you just show them the final product. Try to explain that process. So in the next few weeks, we worked on iterating that idea that was picked as one of the guiding ideas. And we tried different variations of trying to find a good approach to describing that idea. And as the logo iterations went on, and we decided to pick a specific style, I wanted to put my front-end skills to the test and actually create a logo generator, like the one you've seen before from Scott, that in a way explains what could be accomplished if we follow this approach. And I wanted to communicate to everyone just how the change can affect the visual style of the logo or how we can improve on it. So that was quite interesting. And you can make sure that we got a whole lot of horrible color combinations with this. But this was just a tool for me to actually show other organizers in our team what is the future and how can we actually utilize this idea for future WordCamps. So with each week passing by, we tweaked some parts and gathered feedback internally. And the logo evolved in the following weeks. And like you've seen, the generator we had helped us visualize the best approach for that. So these weekly iterations basically allowed us to explore several ideas, different ideas, and how to mark specific things. But what I'm trying to say is that our process was not like 1 week of working and that's it. It was an iterative process happening week after week, because we were all working in our spare time, of course. So when we agreed on the style and everything, we improved our logo generator to something that could eventually come and replace the Adobe Illustrator or Sketch that was used to create the first logo. And this is something that we are actually working on actively for this year and for years to come. And when you see your logo like this, and you can play around with it, you get really excited about it. And that's the whole point of community, to get more people excited about what you do. So the logo was introduced to the public on the website and all other materials like badges or branding materials. And I remember Sonia asking me during the event if I was proud having to see my logo on the big screen. And I was, because I had that fuzzy feeling like your work is appreciated. You did something that other people can also like or dislike. But the truth is that I was more proud of our team who helped us build this, because this wasn't a work of one person. This was the work of 6 other people in the community of hundreds. So the team got plenty of positive and some negative comments, but since we had that iterative process, we believe in each other in the team that we were working on, I was pretty sure about our process and wasn't afraid of sharing that publicly. And the final version of the logo, if you can call it that, is something that you shouldn't take for granted in the open source community, and that's perfectly fine. So we also iterated on this after it was released. So designers are wanting that one perfect project to make it their career project, but it's not always possible. For example, for me, several months back, I've done my first design sprint for a client project. So I helped to prototype an idea and test it with users, basically doing a usability testing. And this is not something I've done before because I had help. So at one of the WordCamps, I met some people and we worked on the user script for testing the Gutenberg test editor for WordPress, something that will power one day 28% of the internet. And we did several user interviews. I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot from that, and we shared those ideas. We shared those questions. And then Anna from Australia, Brisbane, used those questions to do a whole bunch of interviews on WordPress Meetup in Brisbane. So basically, she improved our ideas. She improved our process. And since I didn't have the time to pursue that, it was perfect that someone else could take on and work on that. So that was the true power for me of community and open source. And being involved in the community often comes at a cost. You don't always feel like, yeah, I'm tired of this, I don't want to spend my free time for that, and that's perfectly fine. You have to find a balance. But why I keep coming back is that I learned that by contributing my time, I meet a lot of new people, I expand my network, and what's most importantly, I enrich my life by learning new things. So next time when you visit a meetup or a conference or use some open source software that you're passionate about, think about contributing back. And you can contribute back in a number of ways. And it's not only through writing code or reporting bug fixes, it's by helping to organize the conference or a meetup, speaking somewhere, doing QA, testing, helping with design feedback, design layouts, or something like that. So if you had asked me a few years ago, how could I become a part of a design team for the biggest WordPress conference in the world, I wouldn't have a rough idea what to tell you, but I have today. So find a project or a community you're passionate about, learn what people are working on there, join their meetings, mailing lists, blogs, introduce yourself, and ask how you can help. I doubt anyone will actually refuse your help. do the work you can in your time and feel good about it. Today, I have the answer. So start small, help people around you, give back to the community, and remember to have fun in the process. Thank you.
Thank you again, Lucijan. We have 3 minutes for questions, if anyone has any questions. Yep.
There's one.
Please keep your hand up while someone else is asking a question.
Hi, it was a great talk. I wanted to ask you about that logo designer thingy.
Sorry about?
The logo designer
Okay.
app. Is it maybe available somewhere on GitHub or somewhere where people could play around with it?
Yeah, so this logo is available on GitHub as well, the logo generator that you've seen. I have the reference in my slides. You can check them out later. And yeah, I mean, the idea is for people to see how we are doing things, to make our process transparent and basically learn from that. So that's what happened in this case as well. I've seen how Scott from the last year work on a prototype, and I wanted to expand on that and improve on that idea. So yeah, everything is available online, and you can check out everything. Do we
Any
have
other questions?
more questions?
So what was the total time for the logo from start to finish?
So I can't give you like an hourly estimate because I'm not sure if it was like 20, 30 hours or 100 hours. It's probably closer to 20 hours, 30 hours. But the whole process spanned around several weeks, of course. But this was only a small part that we did for the whole conference. So it was one small part, but it's actually a quite visual part. So a lot of people loved the idea and loved what we were doing and actually approached us at the conference to ask for questions.
Great,
Cool.
thanks. That's it for Lucijan.
Yeah, if you have more questions,